So, Warhammer, Henry Cavill show. It's the future, and everybody knows it. But the question is, like, where is it? When is it happening? We haven't heard anything. I mean, at this point, it's been years since Cavill was fired by James Gunn and then revealed his plans to do the big Warhammer Cinematic Universe. Last year, official documentation from Games Workshop came out to explain that they had reached a deal with Amazon and they were basically going to have to go dark. Some of their financial reports this year, because Games Workshop is a publicly traded company that owns Warhammer, they have basically said it's a long-term arrangement. I'm thinking 5 to 10 years, and they literally can't talk about it anymore until something comes up. So that was kind of the last official reporting from the financial reports of what was going on. There have been some rumors. Like, we know that they've been working on logos and working on the scripts. Cavill himself, in interviews, has spoken to how they're having a bit of trouble cracking the scripts. And that's because Warhammer is incredibly complicated. And it's a really hard universe or IP to make digestible to the normies. Like, it's crazy, dude. Like, there's stuff in Warhammer. Like, there's... There's a lot of fucked up shit in Warhammer, okay? And so it's all about, like, how do we make this digestible while also staying true to the core, which Cavill has talked a lot about. Now, within the last couple of months, there have been a couple interesting rumors that popped up. Number one, there was indication that Brad Pitt was being looked at by Henry Cavill. And in fact, they had had a meeting to discuss a big role in the Warhammer Cinematic Universe. And on top of that, there's some indication that we know the era of what time period would they cover in this show. So there's like 30K, which is like the Golden Age and the Emperor and the Crusade. And then there's 40K, 10,000 years later, the Emperor put on the Golden Throne. Everything's decayed into this rotting from the inside, super authoritarian state. Well, it seems as though the time period for the first show will be the scouring. The scouring is a time period directly following the Civil War and the Emperor himself being put onto the Golden Throne. Okay. And I think the reason they want to do this, number one, is for brand synergy. They're about to do this massive series of books, which is going to explore that time period in depth for the first time ever. So you can see the brand synergy there. There was also a symbol, which is an Imperial Aquila, which has one side of it rotting. This symbol was shown for the first time by Henry Cavill on an official post. It was later seen on a collector's version of a novel, which goes into the scouring. Okay, so that's kind of why people think scouring. Okay, now, a couple of things I want to talk to you about. Valrak, Chapter Master Valrak, really good content creator over at Warhammer, has incredible sources. Valrak and I talk a lot in the DMs because I've got some sources, he's got some sources, and often they are saying the same thing, and it is pretty wild. So we've talked about a lot of exciting stuff in the DMs, and Valrak hit me up this morning. He put a video out about this. I shared it in the Discord that he's hearing first official Henry Cavill Warhammer show announcements possibly coming this Thursday. Now, this Thursday, Games Workshop has a big reveal show, which is going to be happening at like midnight his time, Thursday night. I think it would be like 6 or 7 or maybe 9 p.m. for us Thursday night. Okay. And so that's the current rumor, that we would get some form of announcement from Henry Cavill as far as what the show is actually going to be. Okay. So I'm hearing that's possible. I haven't got a hard confirmation. I'm reaching out to more people. In fact, people might have hit me up already, but I'm going to be keeping an eye out on Thursday for the first official announcements. Now, it's the Game Awards. Okay. Yeah. Game Awards at 8 p.m. Now, why might this be happening with the Game Awards? I think it all has to do with the new Dawn of War game. Yes, let me explain. I think it all has to do with this new Dawn of War game. It is a new Warhammer game, pretty high profile game. And it just announced that not only are the Dark Angels a playable faction, but Lion L. Johnson, the Primarch of the Dark Angels, is going to be playable in this game as well. Warhammer is doing something here that Star Wars used to be able to do, Marvel used to be able to do a lot more, and it's called brand synergy. And what I mean is they are recognizing the sort of pillars of content that they have, and they are finding cool ways to make that connection between these things very cohesive and feel as though there's this synergy that just makes it feel like there's this really cool plan that's coming, okay? Now, recently, they announced an event called the 500 Worlds, okay? 500 Worlds is taking the Space Marine 2 characters, Space Marine 2 characters, mostly Titus, making him chapter master in the Ultramarines chapter of one of them. I think he's of the first. And he now, by orders of Lord Guilliman, who's a returned Primarch, these are the demigod sons of the Emperor. Just take my hand and follow me on this, okay? This 500 Worlds thing is taking those really popular characters that were in the Space Marine game, but also were in the Amazon Secret Level episode, and they are now main players in an event where they're trying to win back Ultramar. Okay, you got it? Now, let's go back to Total War, Dawn of War, whatever the fuck it's called. This game is taking place on a planet that is technically on the edge of the 500 Worlds of Ultramar. I don't know if it's considered one of the Worlds of Ultramar or not, but it's literally right on the edge of it, okay? The galaxy of Warhammer is split by a giant rift. Up until recently, the Lion, who's like an Avenger, basically. Like if you're a Marvel fan, just think of an Avenger. The Lion was on the opposite side of the galactic split as Guilliman. This planet that's in the Dawn of War game, or Total War game, Adam's got me really fucked up, so I can't remember which one it is. That planet is on the edge of the 500 Worlds, and systems within that planet actually exist on the other side of Sanctum Secundus. So where am I going with this? Dawn of War, thank you. Where am I going with this? Warhammer is setting up a series of stories which will set up the meeting between Lionel Johnson and Robute Guilliman. Okay? These characters are about to meet, and I believe the Lion will now become a part, maybe with the Blood Ravens, of the campaign to thwart whatever's going on in the 500 Worlds, and that's going to create like a whole thing. Okay? However, what does this have to do with Henry Cavill's show? Well, in the Scouring, you have Robute Guilliman and the Lion. Okay? And so what I think they're trying to do here, this is some speculation, okay? But what I think they're trying to do is they're going to have Cavill's show, if it indeed is in the Scouring, it will set up the groundwork of the conflict between the Lion and Guilliman, and honestly, a lot of the Primarchs in Guilliman, because Guilliman was like kind of a nerd, and he wanted everybody to change. He wanted to break up the Legion so they weren't as powerful. He invents the Codex Astartes, all of this sort of stuff. This time period of the Scouring is a very political time, but it is also a time where the Lion, like, dies. Like, he has his own thing on Caliban and fucking dies, and then he's resurrected 10,000 years. Robute Guilliman dies during the Scouring as well and comes back later on. So if you can just think about the synergy of what they're building, they are building a story in 40K that will directly play off of events that take place in the Scouring. And so I think what they're doing is Cavill's show is going to sort of lay the groundwork of a lot of those things. And then Warhammer, the game, the hobby, is going to play off of those things in its current lore to like give you sort of a payoff of that, an understanding of that, right? And Dorn dies as well, although Dorn is probably not dead. He's just missing a hand. So that's kind of the speculation. Like, I've been thinking a lot about this, man. There's a lot going on with Warhammer, and it's like you can see how the company is doing a lot of planning and a lot of synergistic stuff. I don't think it's an accident that they're about to explore the Scouring in novel form extensively, while also potentially using that work to adapt for the show, while also then taking key characters from that time period and creating content in the present with them to kind of have a payoff, right? So that's kind of the latest, and I don't know how many people have like started to actually like put this together. There are a lot of hints. I mean, basically bringing the Lion back just in general was a big hint, of course, but I think 500 Worlds, the building here in this game, because like, look, Games Workshop realizes that Space Marine 2 was a massive boon to them, and what happened with Amazon and the synergy between that game and that animation was a huge boon for them. That's why they're utilizing those characters in the 500 Worlds thing and really pushing that. And the Lion himself coming back and being at odds with Gilliman is just such an interesting story in the present, something that a lot of fans want. So yeah, they're doing it. They're doing it. And it's just, again, you look at the synergy there, and this is kind of what I'm predicting. But with all that being said, this Thursday, strong possibility of our first actual information about what the Henry Cavill show is. And so I will be looking out for that. I'll probably be on Valrak's stream in chat, talking a bunch of shit, throwing tomatoes at him, and waiting for the reveal. And if it doesn't happen, we will blame him because he started this rumor, and we'll throw a lot of tomatoes at him. But if it does happen, then holy shit, we're off to the fucking races here. There's more stuff that I know about the Warhammer stuff that I can't say, but if it gets revealed publicly, I can speak more to it. Yeah, that's basically it. So any comments, any questions about that? Warhammer fans, where are you at? How you feeling about this shit? Did what I say make sense? Can you kind of see the synergy and how this is being built? Warhammer show will be redemption of Rings of Power. Oh yeah, I think so too. I think so too. What do you want the drama between the Lion and Gilliman to be? So I think the drama should be because the High Lords of Terra and maybe some of the other people in the Imperium, like the Custodes, they might actually want Gilliman to lead, or rather the Lion. I don't think everybody's super pumped with Robot Gorilla Man's plans and what he's trying to do. You know what I mean? So that could be quite interesting. You know, there could be some kind of conflict as to what is the actual threat. What should the Imperium actually be doing? And there could be a conflict there. You know, I think the ultimate thing between Gilliman and the Lion is like, the Lion was a better general, but Gilliman was a better leader. You know what I mean? And you just kind of have to ask yourself, like, what better serves the people of the Imperium? You know? But yeah, I think it would be more interesting if the conflict was that people were trying to get the Lion to lead and stuff like that. And also, the other thing is the Lion's changed a lot. Gilliman's changed, but like not as much as the Lion. The Lion literally aged 10,000 years, so he looks way older than he did before. He also has like weird new mysterious powers. He can sense chaos. He can basically enter the warp and teleport around anywhere. He has access to a place where the Emperor hid weapons, and he has the Emperor's shield. Yeah. You're throwing potatoes? Oh my God. You watched the new Space King? Pretty funny. I have not actually yet, no. Josh, when are you getting Cavill on stream? I mean, that would be a dream. I don't see it happening. But it would be a dream. And honestly, I'd rather just fucking play some Warhammer with Henry. Like, dead ass. Like, I would love to just play a game with Henry. My Custodes versus his Custodes. Blood games. Blood games, baby. Justin says, when he talks about Warhammer, it's so great. The time flies. I'm so interested in it. Justin, that's awesome to hear, bud. I'm glad you're turning around on it. Ordered some stuff from Major Minis. I have some Major Minis. I actually have his version of the Emperor, which I've never painted up or whatever. But yeah, I've built some of them. Space King 4 is pretty dope. Is it dope? Nice. Dreamlight. Oh, you know what? I'm so glad you said this, Scott. One more thing. Let me add one more thing to this. So Zack Snyder recently been posting on the Instagrams a lot, okay? Y'all know it. I know it. He's been posting on the Instagrams, okay? Recently he posted Henry, and he literally said, let me pull it up, here's to many more stories to come. I believe is what he said. Here's to many more stories together. Okay. So a lot of people were like, Snyderverse, you know what I mean? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But what about Warhammer? Oh my God. If Zack and Henry got together on this Warhammer shit, and the other thing is like, so there has been a little bit of like tension between Zack and Netflix. And a lot of us were like, what is the deal here? Like, is it all about Rebel Moon? It feels like that couldn't be what it is. Cause like Rebel Moon still did big numbers, but maybe disappointing. What could be going on? Maybe it's this. Maybe Zack starts to get recruited. You know they don't like Henry. I mean, I know they don't like Henry. I know some shit about that. So, I don't know. I mean, if I were Henry, I would think about this because I think it's a great idea. I think Zack still has his hardcore fans. I think Rebel Moon was like low-key stealing a bunch of shit from Warhammer anyway, so like Zack's already kind of there in a mind state. I think it could be a really good fit, man. I think it could be a really good fit. Now, I don't know if that would be for the show or for some of the movies because they want to do both. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting that that's happening at a time when we might get some announcements here. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Adam. What do we know about the adaptation, right? Because you're saying Chris Wraith, you know, Zack can't write for shit. I would say that Zack's original storytelling is far less good than his adaptation. To me, Zack's always been brilliant when he's adapting things because he's so good in his visual language that he can take a concept that works in a 2D image and add time and space and, you know, cinematic things that feel congruent with what was being told on the page. Like, he's really good at adaptation. So what I'm getting at is we know that the Warhammer Cinematic Universe is going to strictly adapt lore. There might be some places where maybe the lore isn't specific and the show fills it out or a movie fills it out. But like, this is not Star Wars to the EU. Like, this is Warhammer. They want it to be absolutely congruent with the lore from Black Library. That's a really important part of this. So basically, like, Zack would be adapting, and I think he's very strong in adapting. Zack handling pre-existing lore won't be an issue. His stylistic flair would work so well. I agree. I agree. Make an invitation video to play him. Cavill seems like the type of guy to oblige, especially for a fellow Warhammer fan. Dude, he's so fucking busy, bro. He's a parent. He's a producer. He's an actor. He's building the cinematic universe. He's incredibly busy. Maybe someday. I mean, if my Warhammer content starts popping off or whatever, and then he takes notice of it, maybe that could be a route. I mean, I wonder if he ever saw that video that I did that had like 1.3 million views about Warhammer lore. I don't know. It's not exactly, it's targeting beginners, so maybe not. But do you think Warhammer lore is better than Elden Ring? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Elden Ring lore is cool. It's based off of like a vague model that George R.R. Martin comes up with, and then it's like filled out a little bit, and there's cool stuff to it. Like, there's actually like a lot of fun stuff in there, but the Warhammer lore is just so much more dense. It's so much more expanded, and the people that write those books like take it very, very seriously. So you're talking about like 600 novels, 3,000 short stories, multiple versions of codexes. Any hint on the next Warhammer vid? Well, the one I'm working on the one that's explaining Warhammer through Marvel Comics terms. And honestly, I want to get it out this week, but I've been so busy. I've been so busy, guys. I'm sorry. All right, so that's our update on Warhammer Woo! I'm glad we're all excited about it. Hell yeah.